Hi guys, so a burning question, of course, will the UK rejoin the European Union? Former Belgian Prime Minister and EU Brexit coordinator Guy Verhofstadt told Brexiteer Nick Ferrari that he thinks it would. He went on to say that on the European side, about 90% of parliamentarians in Brussels would like to have Britain back in the Union. Is he right? Is he too optimistic? Or have the Tories and their friends in the press burnt too many bridges?
Brexit could have been totally different if at a certain moment Labour and Conservatives were ready to cooperate and to find a way out of Brexit, more in the sense of an association agreement, Norwegian style, for example, than the cold Brexit we have now. And I'm still continuing to think that in a world as we see it today, with the aggression of Russia, would have been stronger today if the UK was a part of the EU.
I think he's correct that unity is always stronger than working individually. And if the UK had remained a member, I think it could have actually led the way, along with France, but certainly led the way in dealing with Russia. But obviously that has not happened.
I'm pretty sure Brexit was a loss for everybody, for Britain and also for the European Union. No. But okay, we never know what will happen, Nick, in the future. There will be, in my opinion, a generation of young politicians in the UK who will say, oh, look, let's work together, let's enter in the European Union and let's change the European Union for the better.
So part of Renew Europe would be for the United Kingdom to renew its membership of the European Union, Mr. Verhofstadt.
Exactly, yeah. That's. I can tell you, I think that 90% of the European Parliament and the European politicians would like that. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I certainly would. I would definitely welcome Britain back into the European Union, and I think most people on this channel or people pro-Europeans would do that. But I don't know if he's been overly optimistic here, that 90% of parliamentarians in the European Parliament or in Europe in general would welcome Britain back, because we've seen the vitriol, we've seen the toxic environment in a sense. We've seen the Daily Mail, the Express. We've seen Tory politicians be extremely aggressive towards Europe, towards the idea of Europe, towards Europeans in general. And I think many bridges have been burnt. Now, I've said this before, the Tories have to go out, the Tories have to be removed from power, they have to be replaced with maybe a Labour Party, a coalition between Labour and Lib Dems and Greens or whatever, a pro-European coalition. But a number of things have to take place before that welcoming begins. Because one thing is saying it, another thing is doing it. And I think at the moment, many Europeans are looking at Britain and saying, many reforms need to take place before we could welcome them back.
Are in favor for that. And I am, in fact, part of a group, Renew, also with the French president, Macron, who is a member of Renew. And we are working on a real project for the future of Europe, a different Europe, a Europe where it's more efficient, not always acting too little, too late. And what we have seen since COVID with the fact that Europe started to issue Eurobonds to finance a recovery plan, with also the good reaction towards the crisis in Ukraine, buying together with 27 weaponry for the Ukrainian army. I think that's the right track, the right way forward, and that is what we are working on. And I'm pretty sure that the UK would have a fantastic role to play in it. Yeah.
I think he's been optimistic, but we have even seen Brexiteers, and I covered one a few days ago, where he was saying that the Brexit mentality is out of date. It's immoral in a sense, the idea that we need to cut ourselves off from Europe, we need to cut ourselves off from our allies. And while as I said before, I'd welcome Britain back into the fold, into the European family, I think certain reforms need to take place. The electoral system needs to change. Not because that needs to change in order to join Europe, but if a government says, yes, we want to rejoin the European Union, you can't have a referendum a few years later because that party's out of power on, yeah, we want to leave again. So it has to be something quite, it has to be a strong pro-European feeling in the country as well. It's not just the political parties have to change, also the feeling in the country has to change. And I think that could take 10, maybe 20 years before we see that, unfortunately. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.